One of the additional use cases that we have internally is we like to follow some of the Twitter accounts that specifically tend to post indicators. Again, it's a way for us to stay on top of things, get data into Synapse quickly. In many cases, researchers will tweet out key indicators of new things that they're seeing, because getting something out on Twitter can be much faster and easier than trying to get a full-length blog published or a full-length report published. So one of the accounts that I want to talk about is one called Scumbots. And this is an account that tends to tweet out indicators about botnet activity on a pretty regular basis. So if I want to keep track of this and pull in these indicators, the Power Up is one way that I can do that. So again, there are a number of ways that we can use the Power Up to automatically do some of this work for us. I don't necessarily want to hand create an object to represent that Twitter account, so I can use our Twitter commands to create the account for Scumbots in Synapse. So here's the Twitter account. We've pulled in the profile data based on what's been reported in the profile here. If I explore from this, there's not a lot of information so far, because of course all we've done is pull in the information about the account itself. If I want to pull in who this account is following, there's a command for that. You can see we've made the node edits, and now when I explore, we can see that that Scumbots account is following 4 other Twitter accounts. If I want to know who is following this account, I can also pull those in. I'm not going to do it because they've got quite a few followers and we don't need to see all that data come in, but there's a command for that as well. You can also pull in the posts, the tweets that that account has posted. There is a command for that. If I run the standard command, it will pull in the last 3,000 or so tweets. I think that's the cap of the actual Twitter API itself. Once again, you don't necessarily want to sit here while 3,000 tweets populate my system. So I have created a custom shortcut, a custom node action that will only pull in the most recent 100. So I'm going to run that instead. You can see our node edits have happened. We've made almost 2,000 edits on over 200 nodes. Now, when I explore from that account, I can go to those tweets. Here we have our 100 tweets. We can sort by date. We can see the most recent one was from yesterday. Of those 100, the earliest one that was pulled in was from March of this year. Synapse does a number of things for you. It can extract both hashtags and mentions from a tweet. So those are pulled out as separate properties. So if, for example, I only want to see tweets that reference a particular hashtag, I can easily run a query that only shows me those. If I go back to those posts and explore from the posts themselves, we can see that it's extracted basic information about the post. Clearly, it's linked that post to the account that made it. It has the URL of the actual tweet. So if I wanted to go view the individual tweet, I could do that. But one thing that it has not done automatically for me is extract those indicators that I'm interested in. But Synapse has a scrape tool. It's the same process that's used by the file parser, and scrape can examine properties of nodes. In this case, I want to look at the text property and pull out things that it knows how to recognize. So hashes, domains, IPs, and so on. Once again, I have created a custom shortcut that allows me to parse those tweets. So basically, I'm taking these tweets and I'm running that text property through our scrape tool. We've made our edits. So now if I explore, Synapse has in fact linked the hash that was referenced in that tweet. And one thing that it's capable of doing is actually handling defanging techniques. So frequently when people post indicators, they will defang them so you don't accidentally click a thing. And Synapse can actually recognize that defanging and be able to handle it. So if I go back to the tweet where this indicator was referenced, you can see that that domain was defanged by putting the square brackets around the dots in between the domain elements. Synapse is able to recognize and handle that when it parses that tweet so that it does in fact link to the correct FQDN and not just throw up its hands and say, I don't know what to do. So that ability to both parse the information and handle the defanging is very handy. And I can automate all this. So I've kind of shown you the manual process of creating the account, downloading the followers, downloading the tweets, and parsing the indicators. But because anything you can do in Storm, you can automate, you can add accounts you're interested in following to what we call a feed. You can have the accounts in that feed retrieved on a regular basis, for example, using a cron job, have those indicators parsed out automatically. And then if you want to do anything further with the indicators, like run any enrichment, you can automate that as well.